Hey everybody, welcome back to the Working Man's Whiskey. I'm Bobby. Happy Friday, everybody. Long week, but we made it through. A good night to have a review, so here we are. Very special whiskey here, guys, that I wanted to review today. Stagg Jr. And tell you guys how I ended up with the Stagg Jr. here. It's a little more expensive than what I usually buy. This was about $60. $58.99, probably a little bit more than 60 out the door. But I had a gift card to Bevmo from my in-laws from Christmas, and wanted to get something I hadn't reviewed yet. Wasn't expecting to, I was expecting to get, just our price range kind of whiskey, $30 whiskey or so. But I got into Bevmo, and I saw that there were like 2 or 3 bottles of Stagg Jr. left. And what I did was I contacted my buddy Adam from the Whiskey Wasteland, guys. If you haven't seen his videos or subscribed to his channel yet, do so. He has some very good reviews, very insightful. So definitely check Adam out, Whiskey Wasteland, once again. But anyway, I contacted Adam. I knew that he had reviewed Stagg Jr. recently, and wanted his advice. Wanted to see if it's worth forking out the extra money for. And he told me absolutely. He said, if you have the extra money, go for it. There were some concerns, whether my wife would be appreciative of me buying a $60 whiskey right after Christmas. But I had the gift card, so not a big deal, not a huge deal. So after some big time thought, I ended up going with it, and I'm glad I did. My wife was fine with it. She's not really into whiskey herself, but she knows that I love doing these reviews and that it was something special. Plus, I had the gift card, so she was okay. She was all right. So anyway, ended up with this bottle of Stagg Jr. And let me tell you a little bit about Stagg Jr. It's the little brother whiskey of George T. Stagg bourbon, and George T. Stagg, very big name in the bourbon world. George T. Stagg was actually business partners with E.H. Taylor way back, and they created George T. Stagg was more of a whiskey salesman at the time. E.H. Taylor was a distiller, and they went into business together and created one big powerhouse distillery. So all these years later, both of those names are still very big in the bourbon world. E.H. Taylor, looking forward to reviewing them soon. George T. Stagg, the big brother whiskey of this one here, is pretty expensive, guys. There's one place around here that has it, Tip Top Liquors in Healdsburg, right next to where I'm working right now. And I went in there a week or two ago and saw one bottle of George T. Stagg in there, which is rare to find. And price tag on there was about $499. It was $499.99. So $500 bottle of whiskey. So that's definitely out of the question for me. But I was happily surprised when I walked into Bevmo and saw that they had a couple bottles of the Stagg Jr. left. So a little bit about this, just some random, or not random, but just the facts on this one. It's about an 8-year-old whiskey compared to George T. Stagg, which is like between 15 and 17 years. George T. Stagg, I believe, is like 142 proof. This one still very high in proof, guys. It's unfiltered, barrel proof whiskey, 131.9 proof, which is 65.95% ABV. So this is straight out of the barrel goodness here, guys. Really good stuff. And as you can see, I I broke into this last night. I couldn't wait anymore, guys. I had this in my cabinet for a week and couldn't I couldn't help myself. So yeah, that's what happened. I'll read you the side of this bottle here. It says George T. Stagg was born in Kentucky on December 19th, 1835. Stagg built the most dominant American distillery of the 19th century on the banks of the Kentucky River during a time known as the Gilded Age of Bourbon. The distillery survived floods, fires, droughts, and even Prohibition when it made whiskey for medicinal purposes. Today, Buffalo Trace Distillery strives to carry on the tradition of its famous forefather. Uncut and unfiltered, this robust bourbon whiskey ages for nearly a decade and boasts the bold character that is reminiscent of the man himself. So yeah, like I said, it's I read that it's right around 8 or 9 years old. So yeah, it's up there. You know, I mean, that's still these days that's still a pretty good age on a bottle of bourbon, guys. So let's see. It says just says distilled, aged, and bottled by Buffalo Trace Distillery, Frankfort, Kentucky. And the website is stag@bourbonwhiskey.com. So that's it for this. I mean, as far as the talk beforehand goes, guys. One thing I need to work on. I'm not talking so much. I know these reviews are getting pretty long these days, so I apologize if I'm a little long-winded, guys. That's just what I am. Who I am. Oh, that's good right there. So let's get down to business. The color, guys. This is pretty dark stuff, as you can imagine. It's unfiltered, barrel-proof whiskey. There, it's a good dark amber color, kind of a reddish tint to it. Give it a nose. And on the nose, guys, it's got a really nice nose. It's got anything from you get some brown sugar in there, definitely some dark fruit, cherries in there, vanilla, definitely some spice. There's not the mash bill on this, guys. I'm not sure what the exact mash bill is, but I know that it's the Buffalo Trace mash bill number 1, which has about 10% rye in it. So it's not really high in rye, but it has some good, definitely some good spice on the nose. Maybe a little bit of rye spice, but some good baking spice, some nutmeg, some clove, definitely some cinnamon. And take another nose. It's sweet, you know. It's got definitely got some caramel type notes in there. So yeah, you got some good oak as well. So you got the wood, the spice, sweetness, the fruit. It's just got a lot going on. The vanilla. Let's take a taste. It's got big notes on the palate there, guys. Oh man, it's delicious. It's at 132 proof, it definitely has it hits you pretty good in a good way. You know, all those things that you got on the nose, the sweetness, the spice, the vanilla. You know, that cherry, definitely some good dark cherry type note in there. Take another taste. It's one of those complete bourbons to me. I mean, you taste this and you could blind taste this and know that this costs a little bit more than, you know, the average bourbon. I'm actually surprised, guys, that it's as low as it is. As I said, this was about $58.99 before tax. I've heard people find it for about $50, but I mean, I would pay more. You know, if I had the extra money to put down on a whiskey, I would pay even more for this. This is really, really good stuff. I've tasted some really good whiskeys, you know, over the years. You know, since I've been into whiskey, I've had the opportunity to drink some really good stuff, and this is up there. Really good stuff. You know, there aren't too many other whiskeys. Maybe 3 or 4 other whiskeys that I've had on here that I like as much as this one, that I would put on the same level as this one. This is special stuff, really special stuff. And I hope I have the opportunity to get it again soon. I'm going to make this bottle last a little while. 132 proof. It's not something that I would use as my everyday sipper. Just because, 1, it costs a little bit more, and 2, 132 proof, it'll sneak up on you for sure. But this is definitely special occasion whiskey, something that you bring out for a celebration. Speaking of, Happy New Year, guys. You know, hope we get in some good reviews this year. Plan on it, definitely plan on it. But anyway, it's just this is my style of bourbon. I love these big, bold, you know, just really tasty, high proof whiskeys. You know, I've always said that I think the higher proof whiskeys just tend to have a lot more character, and that's not a knock on the you know, on your average 80 or 85 proof, 86 proof whiskeys, but you know, I feel like the higher you get up to the 90s or the hundreds, you know, and this one, shoot, at 131.9, you know, of course this is unfiltered barrel aged whiskey, but there's just so much going on there that I'd almost need to do 2 reviews to really pick out everything that I can find in here. But there's just a lot going on. As I said, it's just brown sugar, baking spices, oak, vanilla, fruit, that dark fruit, cherry note, maybe some dates in there. But it's got a lot going on, and it hits you at different times. I'm gonna take one more sip and then we'll sign off, guys. Just a really good, really tasty whiskey. I'm not sure the availability around the country on this one, but if you see it, you know, at your whatever store you can get it at, grab it. You know, spend the extra money on it, guys. It's worth the extra money if you have it. If you don't, go to a bar that has it. Find a bar that has it, and that's what I do, guys. When I can't afford a whiskey I've been wanting to try, I go to a bar. There's a bar in Petaluma called McNear's. You know, the Washoe House has some. They don't have a big selection. They have the whiskey that I like. You know, Old Overholt and a few others, Woodford Reserve, but Petaluma, which I consider my hometown. They have a bar called McNear's. It's been there since the early 1900s, with a huge selection of whiskey, and you know, go to a bar like that. If you can find a bar that has a big whiskey selection, you know, that's what I like to do. Try out, you know, a shot for $8 or whatever. See if I like something, if it's, you know, worth spending money on, and go from there, guys. So as for a rating, I would give Stagg Jr. It's gonna get a high rating, guys, because it's really, really good. I'm gonna give it a 96 out of 100. I don't know. I'm trying to think of the reason I'm not giving it a higher mark. Actually, I'd like to. I don't usually do this, guys, but I'd like to try it out with some water. I've heard people say that they've tried it with water though, and it really doesn't help it a whole lot. You know, it doesn't take away from it, but it doesn't, you know, bring out a whole lot more. My buddy Adam in his review said that the nose opened up more, definitely. But oh man, I rarely get to have barrel-aged barrel-proof unfiltered bourbon, so don't really want to cut it down with anything. So 96 out of 100, still a really good score. Try it out if you can find it, guys. That's it for this one. The next review, I'm not sure what I'm going to review next. If you guys have any ideas, let me know. I'm going to keep my eyes open as well. I'm trying to find something from Jim Beam that just came out not too long ago. Haven't been able to locate it around here yet, so we'll see how that goes. Yeah, guys, that's it for this one. Hope you all have a good weekend. Hope you had a good New Year, and look forward to talking to you guys soon. Definitely subscribe to my channel here, my Facebook page as well. I think it's called just the Working Man's Whiskey. It's either you can find it under either Working Man's Whiskey or the Working Man's Whiskey. My buddy Adam's page is the Whiskey Wasteland. Look him up on here too. Subscribe to his channel, and talk to you guys soon. Till next time, cheers.